The movie begins on a bleak, empty road in the middle of the desert. The only thing there is a large number of chairs arranged in neat rows, as if they're waiting for an audience to show up for some strange performance. A man stands alone holding a telescope, looking like he's waiting for someone, his eyes fixed on a specific point. Suddenly, a car appears out of nowhere, speeding like crazy, smashing through the chairs as if they were just paper, then stopping right next to him. A well-dressed, important-looking officer steps out. His name is Chad. Chad looks at the viewers and starts talking to them in a very unusual way. He says that all successful movies have something called no reason, meaning things happen without any explanation, simply because the director wants them to. Then Chad gets back in the car with his wife and drives off. Meanwhile, the man who was standing there starts handing out telescopes to a group of people standing in the desert like ghosts. Now imagine if the car hadn't crashed into the chairs. Those people would have been sitting comfortably watching whatever was about to happen. After that, the man, who we'll call the accountant, gets on a bike and rides off, while the people start watching through their telescopes. But at first, nothing really happens. All they can see is a huge landfill filled with dirt and garbage, like a symbol of the emptiness and absurdity they're living in. Then suddenly, with no warning at all, a tire lying in the dump starts moving on its own. It tries to stand up and roll, but keeps falling over again and again until it finally manages to balance itself and begins a strange journey across the desert. A journey with no purpose or meaning, kind of like some people's lives. Along the way, it sees a plastic bottle on the ground, crushes it, and rolls over it as if it's releasing bottled-up anger. Then it kills a scorpion, and after that, it smashes another bottle, this time with even more force, like it's trying to prove it's stronger than anything. The people watching through the telescopes can't believe what they're seeing. They start thinking the tire has telekinetic powers, the ability to move things with its mind, like some kind of magician. That's what makes it different from anything normal. The tire continues its bizarre journey, smashing a metal can, and as the sun sets, it goes to sleep under a tree in the desert after its exhausting, meaningless trip. In the morning, it wakes up and keeps going, still with no goal except destroying everything in its path. Meanwhile, the accountant returns to the people who had fallen asleep on the ground and secretly steals their money without them noticing. Then he tells them to keep watching the movie and walks away, as if he's enjoying exploiting their suffering. The viewers get frustrated because there's no breakfast or food, everyone's starving, but they're forced to keep watching this strange film. In a shocking scene, the tire sees a small rabbit and kills it with its supernatural power, without any mercy. The sight of the dead rabbit disgusts and terrifies the viewers, making them wonder why it's doing all this and what's behind all that violence. After that, the tire reaches the highway, and suddenly a beautiful girl named Sheila drives by. The tire manages to stop her car with its power, almost like a superhero, and starts moving toward her as if it wants to hurt her. But then another car comes speeding in and hits the tire, throwing it off to the side of the road. Sheila continues on her way, while the tire gets back up and continues its evil journey, killing a small bird for no reason, as if it enjoys destruction. Later, we see a man filling up his car with gas. Sheila passes by and yells at him because he had been harassing her. The man tries to use a payphone, but it's broken. Suddenly, he notices the tire in front of him. It starts shaking violently, and the man dies, becoming another victim of this strange killer. The tire continues down the road, and a police car passes by without the officers noticing the danger ahead, suggesting that the story is just getting started. The tire eventually stops at an old motel and enters room number 15, which just so happens to be the room where Sheila is staying. The viewers are entertained as they watch it spying on people, all waiting to see what happens next in this bizarre story. Sheila can't sleep because the TV in the next room is too loud, but in reality, it's the tire switching channels with its power. Even the viewers themselves start getting tired and want to sleep. Some of them ask others to wake them up if something important happens. Others can't sleep because they're hungry. The organizer of this whole event clearly didn't care about providing food, almost like he's treating them as test subjects in some kind of experiment. Meanwhile, the accountant who stole their money sits there polishing his shoes. Suddenly, the phone rings, and he answers. It's his boss, giving him an important task to carry out in the morning. Early in the morning, the accountant leaves his room so the cleaning lady can come in. Meanwhile, a man sitting in a wheelchair keeps watching everything through his telescope. He's the only one not affected by what's happening around him, almost like a symbol of awareness trying to understand the situation. The accountant comes back with food, and the people start eating raw chicken and fighting over it like animals, except for the man in the wheelchair, who openly calls them animals. The cleaning lady enters room 16 and finds the tire in the bathroom. She thinks it's just a prank by the guests and throws it outside, not realizing it's no ordinary object but a killer with supernatural powers. The tire moves to another room. A young boy notices that the door is locked from the inside and tells his father he just saw a living tire moving on its own. Of course, his father doesn't believe him, but the boy insists he's telling the truth. The father gives him some money and tells him to go buy pizza so he'll forget about it. We cut back to the tire, which, after finishing its revenge, sits down and watches a nature documentary, as if it's searching for meaning or reflecting on its victims. Then it watches Sheila again while she's swimming in the pool. It still seems to have some kind of fixation on her, and still wants to kill her. In its imagination, it reaches her, while in reality, Sheila walks right past it without noticing. The boy returns with the pizza and sees a man standing by the road. He notices the remains of a dead bird and puts them inside the pizza box as revenge on his father for not believing him. At the same time, the tire heads to the pool and goes into the water. The viewers watching the event start feeling sick, and it turns out the organizer poisoned their food. The only one who didn't eat the chicken is the man in the wheelchair, which is why he's the only one still okay. Meanwhile, the boy wants to know what happened in room 16, so he goes in and finds a horrifying scene. The cleaning lady has been murdered. Sheila was sitting at a cafe when she noticed several police cars rushing by, so she went to see what was going on, and it becomes clear that something bad has happened. The boy goes to Officer Chad and tells him the tire is alive and that it killed the cleaning lady. But his father, the motel owner, tells him to stop talking nonsense and just get the tire out of the pool. The boy insists he's telling the truth, which frustrates his father. Chad asks the motel owner about the cleaning lady, and he says she was a good worker and there were no issues. Then Chad orders his men to poison the viewers, and by now, the poison should have taken effect. The motel owner is confused, while all the viewers drop dead, except for the man in the wheelchair. Chad tells his officers to go home since there's no one left watching. They're confused, but Chad insists none of this is real, it's just a performance within a performance, and the movie is over. To prove it, he orders a female officer named Daisy to shoot him. She refuses, but another officer shoots him multiple times. Still, nothing happens, the wounds turn out to be fake. The accountant goes to Chad and tells him that one viewer is still alive and watching them, so they have to keep the show going until the end. Chad changes his mind, tells his men to continue, and goes back to talk to the motel owner, who's still in shock. Chad tells him not to worry about it, and the owner has nothing new to add. Meanwhile, the tire starts moving again without anyone noticing. The motel owner mentions that the cleaning lady has a heavyset brother, and moments later, the tire kills the motel owner with its powers. Chad realizes the boy was telling the truth and that the tire is a real threat that needs to be stopped. The tire looks at itself in a mirror, as if remembering how it ended up in the dump. Was it once part of a car? Did it have another life before becoming a killer? The boy tries to talk to it and asks if it can speak, but the tire ignores him and rolls away. At the same time, Chad shows his officers another tire and tells them that's what the suspect looks like, and they don't have much time to catch it. The boy runs after them, asking where the real tire went. The man in the wheelchair keeps watching through his telescope. He's the only one who understands that the story isn't over yet. The accountant brings him a lot of food. The man thanks him but refuses to eat. The accountant tries to tempt him with sweets and says hunger is bad for your health, but the man snaps at him. He just wants the movie to end. Meanwhile, the tire continues down the road, and the police chase it. When a patrol car catches up, the tire uses its power to kill one of the officers. The accountant starts eating and talks about his childhood, while the man still refuses to eat. Suddenly, the accountant feels intense pain in his stomach and starts screaming. He forgot the food was poisoned, even though he's the one who poisoned it. He begs the man to help him, but the man does nothing. After a few minutes, the accountant dies, while the man keeps watching as if it's just a stage play. The tire keeps going and comes across firefighters burning a pile of tires, with thick black smoke rising like a mass cremation. 3 days pass, and no one is left alive in the town, all because of the tire. The police still can't catch it. Suddenly, they find it inside a house watching a race on TV like a normal person. The police call for backup, and Chad arrives. They decide to use a mannequin that looks like Sheila, rigged with explosives. They install speakers inside it so the tire hears Sheila's voice calling it to come closer. But the tire senses something's off and uses its powers to destroy the mannequin before it can explode. The man in the wheelchair criticizes the scene, saying it doesn't make sense, and wonders why they didn't just use a flamethrower. Chad explains the plan was for the tire to destroy the mannequin and trigger the explosives that would kill it. The man demands they speed things up, annoying everyone. They tell him that if he had eaten the chicken earlier, none of them would even be here. The tire destroys the mannequin, but the explosives don't go off. Chad loses patience and decides to handle it himself. The man in the wheelchair is bored by the scene. Eventually, Chad fires several shots and finally destroys the tire. It looks like the movie is over, but the man isn't satisfied with that ending. Suddenly, he notices the tire has turned into a child's tricycle wheel. He warns it not to come near him, saying he's not part of the movie, just a viewer, but it kills him anyway. Chad leaves Sheila on the highway and drives off. She gets into her car and sees the wheel pass by. The wheel continues down the empty roads until it reaches a place filled with other tires. They all start moving on their own and follow it, forming a kind of army that will roam the roads and destroy everything in its path. The movie ends with an open ending that doesn't give clear answers, but it makes you think about the meaning of life, the violence that destroys everything, and the absurdity we live in. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, your opinion matters, so be sure to share it in the comments and subscribe to the channel.